I don't know if it's just girls or boys, but there is a list who they want to sleep with comedians.
Nice.
Girls and boys.
Just locally?
Not men.
I don't know if it's... this is the only thing I know about this list. And the other thing that my first question was, am I on the list? Because if not, you know...
It's not a real list. If you're not.
I'm going to pick another hobby.
I mean...
You think Alex is on the list?
I got to be somewhere on that list. Jacksonville comedy scene is not the most attractive. I'm not trying to be a dick,
That's
if
what I
I'm
said.
not on that list, I will kill myself. I will.
This is where you draw the line.
I don't even have a high ego in that regard, but
Right.
I need to be on that list for my
Jacksonville
self-esteem.
comics.
Crazy. To me, the craziest part, what you have accomplished since then. Because you came back, I'm like, yeah, this guy is gonna be a goner. Because to me,
Appreciate that.
no. Okay, so here is Alex and I relationship. Like we.
Worst thing.
No, I will explain. Let me
I
explain.
thought you were just trash.
I mean, when you came back, I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
But here, so
Give up, kid.
Fail. Just quit.
Sweet, dude.
you said, "Fuck you, New York, I'm out."
I was not mentally prepared. It was too much traveling back to back. I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't do that. Travel sucks.
All right,
It was.
let's do this. I mean, you recorded podcast. I don't have to tell you how it goes. Okay.
I was just hoping you would jump in at some point. Do you have an intro?
Yeah, I will tell you in a second. Okay, so we usually clap so I can synchronize. I can synchronize the channels. So clap on 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, very good.
Fucked it up.
Of course, I knew I was gonna do that. What? Welcome, everybody.
What? We're not gonna redo it?
We gotta redo it.
All right, let's do
I
it.
want to do it legit.
All right.
Yeah, we gotta.
1, 2, 3.
Even better the second time.
I'm gonna leave this in. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right, close
we go.
enough.
That was kind of.
Close enough. So, welcome everybody to the Did You Hear That podcast with me, Emery, and Flo Funny. And tonight is our guest, Alex Sanders.
Hey.
There's the clap again.
Welcome.
It was funny because sometimes I say Flo Funny, sometimes I let Flo say Flo Funny.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say it 3 times fast? I let Flo Funny say Flo Funny.
Flow funny, flow funny, flow funny.
Whoa.
That's not what I said, but okay.
Well, that's what I understood.
But anyway, Alex, welcome to the podcast. This is what we
It's
do.
your accent.
This is what we do for an hour. Like I try to say stuff
Just
and
bigger
then
like an old married couple.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh.
You're the child.
no, definitely with
No, you're the stubborn herpy bump.
I preferred child was better. It wasn't good, but it was better than that. We are sitting at the dining room table, so it does feel like a family.
Yes.
Instead of placemats, we have mouse pads.
Gigantic ones.
These are like 10 times more expensive than plates.
I know they are,
They're
but
very
it's just,
expensive.
this is I am a
Don't
This is
single
Google
man.
made out of single.
This says I am a single man. I don't have placemats. I eat on a mouse pad.
Do you know how many? I have like 7 different like these ginormous sizes.
They're all the
over
same
the
color.
place.
We went from
So
fancy
okay,
something.
so here's what happened. I made this freaking table. It's an epoxy table,
He made it by hand.
but I made it by hand. Took us months.
Strong hands. from
I
Umbre.
was just like, oh, I have an idea. Let me do it. But instead of researching it or asking anybody who actually knows how to do this,
Yeah.
I just got the 2 component stuff, mixed it together, put it on the table.
Said, "Fuck
Like,
it."
this is good. It looks good. But then the material epoxy started bubbling up like a volcano.
So why there's duct tape
Underneath,
all over it?
the duct tape is so because it cracks easily, so it just
I
protects
want to
it.
know how you feel about it.
But
Why we
these,
invited you.
It's good. It's better than I could do.
the placemats are for the bubbling up. So it's underneath. There is some crap that sticks
Yeah,
still.
I can see a couple here
So,
and there.
yeah.
Well, I'm so proud of you, Dad. Good job.
Dude, it was. I thought it was gonna be a weekend project. I thought it was gonna be a weekend project, and I worked on it for like months. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
There's like I have a dream of like when I retire, when I'm like 60, 70, like getting into woodworking. Like that's something I dream about sometimes.
Oh,
Woodwork.
interesting.
It just seems like something that would be interesting, but I will never actually really do
It's funny. So my grandpa was a woodworking artist. Like he made sculptures out of wood stuff, and I have like all kinds of wood.
Sweet spot
Yeah.
right now. You were expecting
It's a very
that.
Hungarian tradition.
Grandpa? No. So I have like wood carving knives and all kinds of stuff. And I try to do it, but it's very time consuming, and I have no patience. I have no patience.
That's exactly why I dream about it, but no, I will never do it.
It won't happen.
Yeah, I have no patience either.
Yep.
I don't either.
So no patience.
Is that a comic thing? Because actually, most of the comics I know are kind of that way.
I wonder.
Very like, give it to me now. Can't wait more than 5 minutes.
Now.
Could be. The instant gratification. I just learned this word last week. So
Well, it's 2 words, but yeah.
I just learned this phrase.
Trying.
Keep trying. That was such a teacher voice. Keep trying.
Teacher voice is gone by the end of the day normally, though, because I've used all my patience.
What
Sure.
did you teach?
Middle school.
Middle school? That's
The
the
wild
worst.
years,
Yeah.
yes.
Hitting puberty, not really know what to do.
Oh, it's all raging hormones all day.
Middle school is what age? I'm still don't know.
It's turning into a
12 to
teenager.
14,
it's like,
right?
11 to
yeah,
13.
11,
Oh.
12, 13.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the rough
Yep, I got
years. The
6th
rough
through
years.
8th. Middle
Nice.
school years. Yep.
So talking about work, what do you do? No, I'm just kidding. So let's talk about comedy. Yay, comedy. Bless you. COVID.
Thank you. Isn't that the theme of the show?
No, there is no
We
theme.
gossip about comedy?
Well, it will come. It will come out sooner or later.
It will
Like
come
who is
But
doing
Jacksonville
some-
comedy scene's so small that you guys eventually had to pivot and just go, now we talk about anything?
Yes, pretty much. No, but the funny thing is, we started this whole podcast because of one of the venues closed down the open mic, and we were trying to figure out why that happened.
You could have just texted me. I've listened to 3 episodes. Your first 3 of
Yeah.
you going to be like, I don't know what happened either.
Well,
And I was like, I mean, they just don't want us there anymore. I could have told you that.
That's it.
so here is the gossip. Right now, they actually want us there.
All right, they're back?
We'll see. I don't know. I just heard different things. I'm like, I don't know. if they're
You
gonna say-
kick us out once, you don't get us back.
They're
Yeah,
gonna- you
fuck
don't
that.
deserve comedy.
Done.
You don't deserve our genius.
I mean, the same thing happened with the last mic.
It happens everywhere.
So they shut it down. That they were trying to bring it back. That they brought back another host. That one is gone, and they're bringing back a third host in town. And there is also another venue that I heard they are doing this. So
I don't like this gossip. Let's do like other like let's do middle school gossip.
I'm not even-
I heard Mikey B's gay.
Everyone knows that.
I mean, everyone knows he's
He was
obviously
here.
he
now
was
we
here on the
know.
podcast.
You'll never believe who has a crush on who. That's the kind of gossip we should do instead of like open mic.
It's not the
comedy.
crush. I definitely heard about the list. Right?
There's a list?
Yes. So apparently there is some list. So certain girls. Did you guys not hear about this?
Keep going. I'm there with you.
That I don't know if it's just girls or boys, but there is a list who they want to sleep with comedians.
Nice.
Girls and boys.
Just locally?
Not men.
I don't know if it's this is the only thing I know about this list. And the other thing that my first question was, am I on the list? Because if not, you know,
It's not a
then-
real list. If you're
yeah,
not.
I'm gonna pick another hobby.
I mean,
You think Alex is on the list?
I got to be somewhere on that list. Jacksonville comedy scene is not the most attractive. I'm not trying to be intimidating.
That's
If
what I
I'm not
said.
on that list, I will kill myself. I will.
This is where you draw the line.
I don't even have a high ego in that regard, but I need to be on that list for my
Jacksonville
self-esteem.
comics. Ooh.
Oh, definitely. Like I don't know if you guys know Brennan Tessif, shout out. So he moved up to New York, and when he was leaving, he always had shows and open mics. He showed up at open mics. I'm like, now finally, when Brennan is leaving, I'm the hottest guy in the scene, right?
Emre, you've always been the hottest guy in the scene.
Thank you. I knew it.
Obviously.
I knew
Women
it.
love accents. You got a woman
No.
co-host within 6 months of starting comedy.
You are not wrong. You are not wrong with the accents, but women don't like Eastern European accents. This is like the bottom of the food chain.
That's racist women.
It is
I think a lot of
bet
women like it.
Yeah, I've seen you flirt up some chicas.
for
Yeah.
sure. Like I could,
Yeah.
but then, you know, like I don't know.
I think you're underplaying it right now. I think
I definitely have the
Yeah.
accent. Definitely helps. And the other thing that helps is
It
tattoos. Like tattoos, girls come up to me and start talking to me. Oh,
Makes-
cool tattoo. I'm like, don't talk to me, and I run away.
well, I don't have either of those. That explains a lot. Explains why I'm not on the list.
That's the problem.
I'm so glad I
Is
brought
this
up
a
the
real
list.
list, Flo?
I've never even heard of this
Oh.
list, but I
Okay.
feel like a girl probably would have made a list like
I think every
Like a middle school girl or somebody older, because
well,
you
you
know,
said girl and boy.
I don't know. Like what I'm saying is, it's a question. Like, do you think
Probably a
this makes sense?
female with a vagina.
You think so?
Someone you made
It's very funny because I'm a
cream in
list.
the
I'm a
past.
list
as
person
opposed to the
myself.
other female. Sorry.
The ones with the
Let's get into it, guys.
Yeah, there's some weird looking vaginas out there.
Oh.
Pivoted into a political podcast.
Oh,
No, every group setting does that, right? Every group setting does that.
What,
Where
the lists?
Yeah, they have lists, or like even like
yeah.
the cute person walks by and people go like, you know.
Yeah, but it's the opposite. It's not like comics talking about audience members because that's a thing. We don't have a list. We just know who is hot, who is not, right? Like we agree on, all right, did you see the chick on the left side, whatever. Or did you see that dude with the big dick on the right? I don't know what
Never
you guys
said
talk about in the female
That's more
comedians.
Scott Watley material.
But anyway, so I don't know. I'm a list person, by the way. So every time I go on out of town, I have a list like this: pillows.
So who's the list?
Crackers.
Who's on the top of your list of fuckable comedians?
I mean, the list is very limited. But first of all,
Like I said,
He's on his own top of his list.
yeah, I'm on them. Fuck myself.
first.
No, but I don't mess around with comics, which even narrows my choices down even way more.
that is a good idea.
But I don't think I've seen it work out, but very rarely, like 10% or less. Like comics dating comics.
to be fair, that's like
working
the
out.
natural, like 10% of just general relationships work out too. But yeah,
But I mean,
I know
it's
what you
like,
mean. I've dated a comic. It was a bad idea. So
oh really?
Was it? Why? Why was that a bad idea?
I don't want to get into the psychology of it, but it just wasn't a.
You are very competitive. Like I'm not competitive.
But I would think
Actually,
you
that
could
was
team
an
up.
issue in this because, like, every once in a while, people would be like, "Oh, who's funnier?" Like as a joke,
Right.
And then
that's
it,
annoying.
and it's just there's certain things that were just internally.
So who was funnier, Alex?
I mean, me. But, yes. To be fair,
To be fair,
yes. But yeah, I mean, it's never a great idea. I think anybody who has to go on stage to get attention, that's not a good personality trait. You put two of those in the same room, it's a bad idea. I
Interesting.
genuinely think it's a terrible idea 9 times out of 10. The reason me and my current girlfriend work is because she does not care for attention at all.
doesn't
So-
care about comedy, really.
Yeah, I mean, she does like comedy, but she doesn't like.
That's
doesn't
your
like-
thing.
she
That's
doesn't
your
like
thing.
your
She has her
comedy.
thing.
Yes, and I think some people like to have a mutual bond that way. So maybe it's just my personal relationship, but like,
Well, it's good to have things that are yours and hers.
Yeah, yeah,
Not
100%. Totally.
everything together all the time.
Right.
also like if I'm being funny, she doesn't feel the need to be like I can be funny too. You know,
Right.
Like, she has her
Oh.
own things that she's good at. So
I see.
I do like even competitive outside, like who's funnier on stage. Sometimes if you're dating a comic and you throw a zinger, I mean that happens in any like comic things. Like you'll see somebody else be like, "Oh, I gotta get a zing in real quick."
Yeah.
Too. If that's your relationship, I just can't imagine it's fun all the time.
No, I can't. The only reason why I'm talking about this because I don't mess around with comics because of whatever the reason is. I just don't. In the first 2-3 months I was doing Mike and I was like having crush on all kinds of people. And I'm like,
all
I can't.
kinds of people.
I can't concentrate, right? So I'm like, all right,
Have you heard the new rumor? Emery's gay.
That's where we're
I'm
going.
gay for comedy, dude. Like if somebody is really funny, I'm like, But no, so it's very funny that you said that you have to put in a zinger. Like I used to have the pressure all the time when I was not doing comedy to be funny. Like every time I was hanging out with friends, I was like, I have to be funny. And I was for the most part pretty funny. But now I don't have that anymore. So I can hang out with regular people and not crack jokes all the time.
Actually, I think comedy has helped me with that too. I used to like seek attention a lot more,
Right.
and now that I can get attention, it just go by going on stage and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I don't feel as compelled to be like do the whole song. And some of that could just be getting older and maturing too. But that's
Yeah.
Could be.
could be that.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, how did you feel 10 years ago?
But what do you mean? Like I felt the same way. Like what I'm with comedy, that changed very fast. What happened 10 years ago?
I don't know. I'm just Scott Watley material. I mean, I can go dick and vagina easy. So, but anyway.
Oh, are you bi?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean, we all had our
Oh, I'm
moment
sorry.
in college, right? Didn't you have
No,
your
that
moment
was
in
before.
college?
Like I definitely.
No.
You
You
didn't
didn't have your moment? You didn't have a little thumb match?
I had a lot of moments. No,
No, he's still.
I'm still working it through.
Still working on it. No, I mean, like, you don't care as much now. Like, with time, you stop giving a fuck about trying to
being
make people
funny.
laugh and, attention and all that shit.
Yeah, I think just getting people's like affirmation and that kind of stuff goes away. Where you're like, all right, I am who I am, and deal with that as more than like like me. Like me.
Yeah, please laugh at my shit.
That's with time, I think, and experience.
But anyway,
I
so
think even on stage, I've adopted that. Of just being like, I'm going to say what I think is funny and hope you think it's funny. But I think when you're younger and you don't have as much to talk about, you're like, I'm going to say what I think you think is funny. Does that make sense? I think as you get older, you're like, I'm going to say something and see what happens. You know what I mean? We'll see.
roll the
I just love
dice.
that.
So the reason why I brought it up is because I don't date comics, right? But I have a friend of mine, and they are specifically only date comedians. They are also comedians. They only date comedians.
Really?
Because of the reason that it's hard to find a mate when you are a comic because of the lifestyle. Not you, Alex, because you're never out of town. But, like if you are doing comedy, but if you're doing comedy,
Yeah, I
like
hear
you
you.
travel, you're out of, even in town, you are out till midnight, 1 o'clock
I
every
see what
night.
you mean. The schedule.
So it is really hard to some people to understand, like, hey, I got to do this, otherwise
Right,
just
then.
give up,
Yeah.
So anyway, I have a friend of mine and they are like, yeah, I only date comics because of the same reason. So they understand what the rule is. I'd rather date
grind.
somebody in entertainment business.
It's either that or like nurses that work the night shift.
Yes.
You know what I
You
mean?
have to-
Like,
I dated nurses. I dated
Similar.
nurses. And it
You
works. I mean, they're cool, and everybody's there. But I like to do my stuff. I like if the girl has her stuff and doing things separately.
I think that's the best relationship. Now that we've cracked that code,
All right. So let's talk about comedy
Back
even
to
more.
Alex
So
Sanders.
Alex, you are like we started roughly at the same time. Like I remember you like Charbez and Rain Dogs even, and of course Andre. We miss you, Andre. Justice Pub.
R.I.P.
And then you moved to Atlanta, which is to me one of my favorite cities, right? Because
Really?
of comedy, I love Atlanta up there. And you move up there to pursue comedy, and then what happened?
COVID hits after paying for a very expensive move.
Damn.
Yeah, I moved there in January of 2020.
Oh.
And the weather there sucks in January, February too. It's cold and rains. So like it's not like you want to go out. So the first month or two I was like, I'm just gonna get situated. I'm like, I went to a couple mics here and there, but I maybe did comedy
Yeah.
like 10 times if that. And then COVID hit and I was like, well, this is gonna suck. But like in the beginning of COVID, nobody knew how long it was gonna last. I was there for like 2 years being like and I barely knew anybody. I knew like 2 people from college.
Yeah.
So after 2 years, I was like, I'm moving back. This is a
Yeah.
failure. They just started opening up, but like, even then, it was kind of a pain in the ass. Like half the places would like had capacity limits, and you're like, well,
Half 50%. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Capacity limits?
Yeah.
yeah, like
What do you mean?
Actually, they did that here too, but
where it's like you could only have like 20 people in the bar or something like that. When you add the like, it's like
Oh, wow.
that reduced the crowd and stuff like that.
Really?
There was a couple places you had to show your Vax card. And it was like not a big
wow.
deal. I got Vax and everything because I'm a loser, but.
I am too, I guess. I'm the loser.
But it was one of those things where I was like, it was just like there was a bunch of hoops to jump through, and the scene wasn't really like kicking off it yet. And I was like, I've been here 2
Damn.
years just waiting for this to cut because nobody knew how long it was like. All right, in 3 months in 3 months, and then eventually I was just like, I'm moving back because the whole time in Florida, my friends were sending me Snapchats of like them doing coke. I'm like, you guys,
it up.
yeah, I was like,
You're fucking locked inside.
yeah, and I'm like, you can't do a mask and wear a mask and do coke at the same time. So I was just like, I'm gonna move back and
do coke there.
do coke, which I don't even do. But it was fun to get the Snapchats.
Yeah.
You do feel like you're missing out when you get the Snapchats and you're
Yeah.
like in a apartment for 2 years.
Right.
Yeah. Damn.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Florida was famous for that. Like, we had the people from New Jersey coming down to do Rain Dogs.
You guys shut down for like 3 weeks, and then every
If
comedy
that,
club was
yeah.
open. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, the funny thing is, I didn't perform for a year because I was like terrified of the virus. I got all the vaccines to the gills, and I never got COVID.
But like all the like Mikey, Scott, like a lot of the guys in the scene all started during COVID.
Yep,
Which
yep.
to me is so funny because my COVID experience was
right.
literally being locked in like a room.
Yeah. And it wasn't even, I mean, I don't know about Georgia or Atlanta, but like my friends up in Chicago for like over a year and a half, they were still wearing the mask. You know, some of them still do, showing the cards. Like we went up to New York, France, cards. You couldn't get into a bar without a COVID vaccine
Even
card.
some of the like the mics
Yep.
were like your stage is here and they could put seating here, but they're like, oh, let's put it like 5-10 feet farther away, and you're like, why? I can only think of one like that, but like
Yeah.
it was one of those things where I was like really kind of a lot of hoops to jump through. Where you're like, this just isn't good for comedy.
I did the other route. I did the online
Oh God,
jokes.
I hated that.
Online was
I hated that.
the very
Maybe
close.
enough money.
Yeah, no, I did it like once,
I did it
twice, and
because
I was like, "Fuck this."
I was afraid that I was gonna quit. Like because I kept writing, right? So I had material, not funny, but I was like, if I can, I was afraid that I'm gonna quit comedy altogether. So I just kept doing it, and I did a couple of virtual shows, and I got booked in Canada for a show, and it was like 60 people in the audience. So it was like virtual.
We were doing the virtual stuff, or was it like virtual? Like it was on Zoom.
It was a Zoom, so it was a Zoom
So you
show.
weren't booked in Canada.
Yeah, it was a Zoom show.
Canadian booker.
Yes.
Okay.
But no, the show was in like the majority was his friends and stuff like that. But it was a fun time. Now the closest one was the VR.
I still have no idea. Were you in Canada or not?
No.
Okay.
No, here Zoom show. But the VR, if you guys never tried the VR comedy, that's pretty close to the real thing.
So you heard the audience laughter and stuff
With a delay, but yeah.
with a delay. You had to
Yes.
wait longer.
So it's like doing a theater.
Right. So with my jokes, it's hard because I don't know if I'm bombing because it's just too dark, right? Especially back then, I was just writing just pure dark stuff, or it's whatever the delay. Plus, people don't just mute themselves. You know what I mean? Like,
That's why I would have such a hard time with it. Is You
Yeah.
need the instant feedback, especially if
Yeah.
you do, like you said, your type of comedy.
Yeah.
It's like either you crack them early and they laugh,
Right.
or you just sit there and a
bomb.
bump, right?
Bomb
You just
for
sit
like-
there. I know what that feeling's like, where it's like either someone cracks and then the rest of the audience feels okay to laugh, or
Right.
not. But if you are online and you don't feel that like instant, like I got them, you're like, oh, this.
There is definitely no such a feeling. We don't like comedy that I got him. It is different. I did it for writing, because I was writing and I was trying different stuff.
I completely stopped writing because if you don't go on stage, I was like, what am I? Like the first few months, I was like, I'm gonna write so much. I mean,
That's what I was thinking.
And then,
I'm like,
like,
this is the time.
month 3, I'm just laying on my couch playing with my belly button, like
Nothing.
become a slob.
Yeah. Yep.
I accomplished absolutely nothing in 2 years.
Nothing.
That is crazy. to me, the craziest part, what you have accomplished since then. Because you came back, I'm like, yeah, this guy is gonna be a goner. Because to me,
Appreciate that.
no. Okay, so here is Alex and I relationship. Like we,
Worst thing.
no, I will explain. Let me explain.
You were just trash.
I mean, when you came back, I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
But here, so
Give up, kid.
Fail. Just quit.
Sweet, dude.
all right. So Alex and I knew each other, but we were not like super friends or anything like that. We are not like now. We are not super friends right now either. But
Are we super friends?
Super friends.
Sweet, dude.
But
You just trashed me pretty hard like 13 seconds ago, but all right.
No. So here's the thing, because I saw you moving away, and I'm like, all right, this guy's moving to Atlanta. One of my favorite cities to do comedy. It's awesome. And then he comes back. Fail, right? I'm like, all right, this guy is gonna give up.
That fails completely out of my hands.
No, I know, but right.
If I knew what the Chinese were up to in that laboratory, I would not have.
or the bats. But no, and then we started again, and you were doing the stuff, and you started doing a crazy amount of work with shows, which is awesome. So yeah, talk about that a little.
Well,
bit.
I mean, I think once I got back, I was like, either I can make it happen here because now my girlfriend and me are like, we're not moving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, luckily Scott's in the same boat. Like, he's got a family here. He's not moving. So, like, we have a mentality of like, either we can make it happen here, and we have to grow the scene here by adding shows, doing stuff like that, or it's just not going to happen. Like, I even told him, like, we're putting together that tour. He's working on a lot of like clubs, getting us booked and stuff like that. But like, I was like, well, we still need the local scene to happen because if hypothetically one of us blew up tomorrow, we still need somewhere in Jacksonville to get stage time. Like if you got famous tomorrow, you don't have an hour and a half of material to go lean on all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So like you need the mics here to still exist. So some part of us is like, we need this scene to be clicking with multiple shows a week for us to get where we want to go. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of been the thought process the last year or two of like us expanding all that.
I mean, you guys did amazing.
Yeah,
like we
you
have
guys expanded.
So
Yeah.
we'll try more.
the River City. I don't want to butcher it. Is it River City Comedy?
Yeah, that's what we call it.
Okay, River City Comedy, so that's great. And you guys have weekly shows now, like actual shows, which is amazing. Like I performed at the Blue Jay several times, Comedy Zone several times. I always had a good time.
Yeah,
So
and we
it was
had the
always
first
great.
ghost, which is good. The last one did 40 tickets.
Nice.
In that room, that is a perfect amount.
Yeah. And it's gonna
Oh,
grow.
yeah, it's a small room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
40
I think
They-
at
you
capacity
could-
it's 60 something.
You
but
could actually put more chairs in there, but that's just my, just putting chairs in.
I wonder why they
You
don't
could-
have more chairs.
They
I
have.
think they do in the
they have
back
it.
that they can pull out if they like have a crazy show. Or
I
something,
actually really like the way they do it because what happens is if you put out all the chairs, people are gonna sit
I
scattered.
think it's
Yes.
empty too.
Right.
Wow.
So now they remove some chairs and people are squished in together. If they need more chairs, just put them out and people are gonna sit
That's the
there.
one thing with like Comedy Zone is it sits 305.
Right.
It's like we're a local show. We're never going to sell 305
Yeah.
tickets. So, even if we get up like when we have 70, 80, I'm like, this is a great show, right? But it still sometimes feels semi-empty in that room because it's like it's sitting
Yeah.
305. I wish there was a way to like just pull a curtain around just the
Right.
bottom of that area because if you just get the bottom pit, it's perfect. And
Right.
that's only
Yeah.
like 40 tickets.
Yep.
Right.
So if you get that, it's a great room. But it's sometimes in that room it can feel very like
Yeah. Empty.
Yeah.
Just,
empty, yes.
Yeah. I mean, because it's a big room. It's a big
Yeah.
room.
And if people sit scattered, that's the one thing every time we run our show.
Yeah, some will
Sit
sit up
them
at
in
the
the front.
top. Yeah.
Yes. So they want to sit near the
By the
bar.
bar.
Yeah.
And then if somebody's sitting at this, it's like urinals. If someone sit at this table, they go 2 tables away.
Right.
To like not be like I don't know those people, but it's like actually you'll have more fun if you sat together.
Yep.
Right.
Or even close to each other.
Yeah, but they don't understand that. Like, it's
Yeah,
like-
you got to break.
especially if you're not a comedy person, which I learned a lot of people are just don't do comedy. Not do, but don't go to see comedy shows, right?
I just had one of my friends with the Blue Jay. She was like, "Oh, as the show went on, I thought they were funny." I was like, "No, the psychology of having laughed and
Yeah,
breaking
wow.
over and over, and now you're in a mood of like I'm laughing a lot. It's like it's a psychology of like going last is actually the easiest. He probably is the best because he's the headliner, but also at the same time,
Unless they get super drunk, because
you
that's
get drunk.
also
There's other capacities to it too. But you're also like loose. That's why host sucks. Host is I got to break the laughter barrier.
Right.
First up kind of sucks. You're a little bit more into the barrier, but like by the end, they're like by an hour into a show, they're laughing. So
Right.
that's the best spot. There's there's psychology to it all. But
yeah.
That's funny though, because for me, I have anxiety, and I'd rather get it done early in the beginning.
I think as you get years under your belt and stuff, you get more comfortable with that. Like
Well,
if I'm on a
even
show
in-
and I'm last, I will walk around and be a little like uncomfortable knowing I have it set. But like I used to have the same thing when I was early in the show. I was like, yes, I get out of here quick. You know,
But that's not necessarily a bad thing because people need hosts. Like people,
I
and-
like hosting, but I mean, in England though, they do it backwards sometimes. Like headliner goes first.
really.
Yeah, I was talking to Spike about that.
You also have host energy, though. I say this about Scott all the time. I was like, he likes trying to get people's attention and being like, I got this.
yeah, I like
I
hosting.
have a little bit of the indifferent thing of like I said, I'm going to say something, hope it's funny, but like,
right.
And that's it.
but like if you don't like it, that's it's on probably me, but whatever. So like that doesn't lean towards a good host, just like instinctually. So you have the like, hey,
Yeah.
will you guys like me? You know what I mean? Which is a good thing to have. It's just different people have different mindsets with that.
Yeah.
Scott's a way better host than me because of that.
Yeah, different personalities, different.
Yeah. I think you're a pretty good host. Like I do host, I do host the open mic, and that helped tremendously for sure. Just hosting the open mic, just to feel comfortable on stage and not give a fuck whatever you're doing.
I think that's why my energy changes. Because like if I know mentally I'm going to host, I'm like I bring my energy level further up to like get it hyped.
You
up
are
and
definitely
going.
different.
Yeah, and then
when
if
you're
I'm like
hosting.
just showing up to another open mic, sometimes I'm just complete low energy, deadpan, and my joke, and I leave. But sometimes I think most of the time I'm more like higher energy. But if I'm
Yeah.
like just exhausted, I'm like I'm not fucking.
It's hard to maintain.
putting
that.
on this energy for fucking middle of the week, whatever I'm doing.
Right.
I think even the most like energy comics in the world, I think they have a hard time maintaining that. You know what I mean? Like,
All the time?
Yeah.
Every time?
like, especially when you go to like open mics and there's like 5 people there and you're like,
oh,
I'm gonna
5
do the
people?
whole like
Fuck
song and
that.
dance. It's like, but even like legit shows, like once I can't imagine every single time having to be like, I gotta bring the energy. That gets exhausting after a while.
That's how I get my
Yeah.
coffee every time. Yeah, if I know I'm
A little
putting on...
Red Bull.
well, yeah. Well, I do my Dunkin' Donuts.
She was the one sending me those Snapchats.
A little bit of,
the Coke sniper, yeah.
Snow is good. Hype it up. Now, if it's a show, I take it very serious. I'm like, I'm gonna be hyped. Like, I'm mentally there. But yeah, if it's just like, An open mic in the middle of the week. I'm like, hey.
I cannot,
gotta-
like, even if I wanted to be hyper, I cannot be hyper with the material I have. Like, you
Your
know what I mean?
material's
Like,
not really.
hey, here's a
hyped
dead
up
baby.
energy.
Woo! Or something.
Yeah,
Maybe
your
it would be funny.
material.
Also, with that accent, not to be funny, you kind of need to talk slow.
Oh, no, that's what I learned that over time. Yeah.
If you talked fast, I think people would blur
Right.
it all together.
You're right.
Right.
They'd be like, what?
Yeah. And people like you guys know me for years, so you understand. I can speak to you with my normal speed, but up on stage I can't because people don't understand. Like, what did he say?
I don't think I understand either.
Just the white noise.
I just smile and nod.
Yes.
Yes.
That was my technique when I came here and didn't speak English. I'm like, okay.
That's why I booked you so many times. Is I just go, yeah, sure, and you're like, then you send me a message on Instagram. So I'm on the show. I'm like, I guess I agreed to this.
That was one of my biggest fear, that I get fired from a job and I don't understand that it happened, and I just keep going up to work,
Yeah, my
showing up to work.
This is like an infamous Christmas party story. This girl apparently got blacked out drunk at the Christmas party, went around, offered everyone Coke, and apparently did it to like the executives.
Oh,
They fired her that night, but she was so blacked out that she showed up to
Oh, no.
It's like an infamous story from like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's just pretty funny.
I mean, I can honestly, like, I do, if I drink too much, that's why I don't drink that much. I do black out, and absolutely
I
no
don't drink.
recollection
Yeah,
whatsoever.
the shows.
So I can be that drunk, but I don't do that anymore. So.
I
don't
used to
drink
drink at
at all.
shows, but I think now I just get like a water bottle because I have to have something in my hand to like mimic a drinking. But like I don't drink much at shows anymore because I feel like it's hard to replicate the set when you're like, oh, this is how I do it when I'm 3 drinks in. This is how I do it when I'm 6 drinks in.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it just got kind of hard.
Consistency,
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, as you get older, it's just harder to drink, then go to work the next day.
Right.
It gets hard.
Yeah, no.
Actually,
I think in the beginning I started off like having a twisted tea for the energy too, and the
Yeah.
alcohol and loosen up. But actually, I do bet I have a chance of like blanking or fucking up a
I
joke.
always forget a joke. I mean,
Yeah,
I already
always
have that
something.
sober, but when I'm
Yeah,
on
right.
something, I always lose it.
Yeah, there's always something that's gonna get. So I'm like, fuck it, I don't need to.
yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't, like, English is not my first language, obviously. So that's why I don't even drink.
But don't you
Because
think you get more fluent? Because when I speak in Portuguese, I get more fluent when I drink.
I get more brave, and I don't care about
Brave
the
and
structure,
courageous,
like
and you just
sentence structure. But
flow
anyway,
it.
it's not good for comedy. You know, it might be silly if I'm like shit-faced drunk and I go up there, but it's not.
I mean, some people can pull it off. I think it's. I mean, some people get high as balls and go on stage.
Sure.
And like,
Oh, and I could never do that.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
Brain
No,
dead.
no.
Yeah.
Brain dead. I would forget everything and fuck everything up.
I have a full-on panic attack.
Yeah, I would be like heart
would
pounding, like
I-
paranoid.
Really, I like it. To me, being high is just like I'm somewhere else. It's I don't even know what's
Nah.
going on here.
That whole like I don't care attitude would completely go away for some reason. I'd be on
Oh,
stage
okay.
just being like, "There's 30 people looking at me right now."
Yeah,
I would
be the
lose my
same.
mind.
Yeah. Maybe if I did one hit like an hour before and I'm just like it's wearing off.
Yeah, on the back
okay,
end.
maybe, but no.
Yeah. Oh, cool drugs.
But yeah, drugs.
All right, so you talked about drugs. So what? Because the people
Yeah.
always bring up drugs in this podcast for some reason. So
What's your drug of choice? No.
I just drink. That's it. Like,
you just
literally,
drink.
that's all I do.
Have you tried anything else? Like, have you tried the normal, casual, like weed and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I've done all the
Oh,
lower
okay.
levels. I've done all the gateway stuff and never
The
really
gate. So
walked
never,
the
because it's never really a gateway drug.
gate. I did all the gateway stuff and I was like, the gate's fun. Yeah, I don't need
Okay.
to go into the theme park.
All right.
You
yeah.
know, like that's
Yeah.
where I've been.
Yeah.
Anything where it gets like psychedelic and stuff, I haven't really touched.
All right,
much.
so that's why I brought it up, because last time who was on? I don't know, whatever. And I did mushrooms a couple of months ago, and it was nothing what people described to me. It was pretty much the opposite. It was just a bad
Yeah,
trip.
but, yeah, well, that people describe that too, though. It's just
True.
like,
There's both.
yeah, it just
I don't know.
depends.
Anyway,
Because I've heard stories of people being like, I saw my ego die, that thing.
No, nothing like that.
I
It was
lost my mind for like
just
24 hours.
just
Whatever it is.
insane amount of sadness. That's what it was, I think. Instead of like, hey, everything is like blowing and glowing. All right, but if you never tried it, then it doesn't
What if
matter.
it was
you
a
know.
bad mushroom or something?
No, it was a good mushroom.
It was it? But was it?
Well, are you in a good place in your life?
Yeah, I was right there on couch.
Okay. Well, this is a bad place.
It's not. It is very. No, look at all the colors, man. Like it's so colored. That's what I was
That's
like.
the first thing I said when I walked in, though. Is this is a single bachelor pad. Like, you have
I mean, it
anime
is.
curtains.
It is. Yeah, with the guitar
Are you
tabs on the
comfortable
wall.
here, Flo?
It's cool. It's a cool vibe.
My upstairs is dark, so I had that. Okay, I'm like first floor is
That's
gonna
where
be
the
very
comedy writing
bright and colorful, and upstairs is just darkness. Oh, I have black curtains.
That's where you write,
You need
right?
those, huh?
Is that where you're writing?
I write actually in both places, down here and up there also. So I tried. Okay,
Clean
so
stuff,
let's.
dirty stuff, clean stuff, dirty stuff.
Oh my god, I'm trying to write clean, man. It's hard.
So hard.
If you go out with the intention of writing a certain way, it never works. It's like
No,
a joke has
sure.
to come to you some
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
way.
Well, I'm forcing
yeah.
this one right now. I tried it at Shanty yesterday. But since we are talking about writing, so
I was
what
going
is
to ask what his process is.
you ask it then? You
9
ask
times
it.
out of 10 it's this. Like just talking to people, and then somebody says something, and I tag off of it, and I go, oh yeah, you're right, Mikey is gay.
And write it down. Yeah.
The third time I said that.
I mean, we all know that it's
Yeah,
not fun.
I mean-
It's not funny anymore.
But yeah, that's usually what happens. Is I like as I'm having, I have a hard time writing by myself.
Yeah.
like I can't go to a coffee shop or any of that stuff.
Interesting.
I just talk to people like at work or something
It's
like
in
that.
the moment.
And then I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, I should write about like this thing. That,
And you got to write it down every time.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's gone.
It's pretty funny that you said that because I always thought of you as a writer. I was like, Alex is sitting just like me at the
It's-
table writing right now. No, I'm just-
everything I've said on stage, I've said to somebody's face in a one-on-one setting.
oh,
That's
okay.
like 99% of it.
That's very interesting. I have some of them, but it's mostly I sit down and I force myself to
You
do some.
ever have a thought like before bed or something? And you're like, oh,
I do have
I only-
those, but those usually are not the ones that do well. They're actually very like smart, they're like clever shit, but it's never really funny. Does that make sense? Where it's like the stuff where it's like you go on stage and you're like, "Hey guys, look how smart I am," but like it's never something that actually gets the audience to laugh. It's like, "Have you ever noticed that these two things are connected?" And then people are like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Interesting, yeah.
And then that's always what it is. It's never like, "Ha ha ha." And I have a hard time getting the parallel to be funny for some reason at that point.
that's why I think you're good at improv, or you'd be good at improv. You're like, because all your things in the moment is you set it off the riff.
Yeah, I mean, I did-
Improv, with friends in the moment in the middle of the day.
I did improv in college for a little bit.
Oh,
How do you
okay.
feel about that?
I lean more evil, and improv is a lot of fake. Like
You have to
that
be
en-
positive. You're
it's
supposed
that energy.
to be a positive.
It's the
thing.
host energy. Everybody in an improv
Everybody
team
is
has
a
that
host.
energy.
Everybody is a host at improv. Ooh, t-shirt.
The first day we did a Shibuya roll call. And they're like, Shibuya roll call. My name
gotta-
is Jake,
the energy.
and I'm real cool.
Gotta have that energy.
Step to me, or you're a fool. My name is Alex, and I'm depressed.
People are like, what? No.
People are like, what the fuck?
It's improv, damn it.
No, my name is Alex. I'm real fun, but it's the high depression, so hide my gun. That was the first like Shibuya roll
That's
call I did.
genius. That's awesome.
Which is really funny, but like
It's funny to me. I
in the
like
whole improv group, everyone's like happy go lucky,
Yep.
and and the whole everyone's just like, what the fuck is this guy's deal? So I did it for like a year or two, but it never really stuck.
Always the same joke for a year.
just a lot of fucked up like depression jokes, which
Dude, that's a good sketch. Talk to Scott about it. It's a guy who is always depressed at improv. No,
actually, yeah.
that's a good sketch. Yeah.
yeah, I think you'd have to know how improv works. I don't know massive.
No, but you can
massive
even.
crowds.
Everybody knows how improv. Well, I don't know. That's a good point.
There's this like you think, and then like you go talk to like just a normal person. You're like, yeah, it's like yes and like yes and what?
What?
And you're like, yeah, you're right. You don't know anything about it. Neither do I really, but like I know that.
Yeah.
So
But it would be a funny sketch, like a
agree.
depressed improv person.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think the challenge for me, because I did improv first,
Mm-hmm.
like years ago in California, and I was like the more negative Nancy. It always just goes to negative, and they're like, try to be more positive, and I'm like, it just comes out that way.
Right.
Dirty and negative, and
Yeah.
then they're even like, oh, try to reduce the dick and vagina and shit jokes, and I'm like, oh, it always comes out like that.
That's what I always do.
Yeah,
But one of the things.
Maybe I should give stand up a try.
and that's what happened. Yeah.
It's 100% what happens to
Yeah.
everybody.
But improv, like they say, don't even try to be funny because it's gonna happen.
Right.
Because you have six
Well,
other
no, it
people
just
or
comes
whatever.
out.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just gonna
whatever
come
comes out, but
so
I'm
I
saying-
like the idea of improv. I did take improv classes and I did some stuff. I like the idea of improv because it happens only one time, right? You can never repeat it.
That's even when I do stand up. I like having certain elements.
Yeah.
That are like I don't even know what's going to happen. Let's see. Like
Right.
that. I think that's funner. The more you like, do
Sure.
it, where it's just like the first. Like when I first came back from Atlanta, I did a ton of crowd work. Like and
Right.
it was just because I was like, let's see what happens. It's more fun.
Yeah.
I knew my set. I knew my
Right.
set was like the 15-20 I had at the time was good. So I was like, all right, let me go figure out some other aspect of this real quick. And that's it's still fun like, to me. Like I did bunch of shows this weekend at Comedy Zone, and the whole time I was like, I really wish I could break out of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, you just
But it's open for Big J, so
material.
I'm not going to go do crowd work
Yeah,
and have
right.
Big J follow me. The best crowd worker in the country. But some part of it was like, and also you shouldn't do that anyways, like as an early like guest spot thing. But I was like, I would, the whole time I was like, it would be fun to just be like, you look like, do that thing. But it's because if you know exactly what's going to happen every single time, it's still not that fun. Even if you're crushing, there's some part of me that's always like, I should try to throw something like a wrench in it somehow.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like try some element of like, ooh, surprise.
Yeah.
So actually, my favorite was I was doing a joke and some guy yelled out something. I tagged it real quick right back, and I was like, all right, at least filled that like need of doing that.
No. So what was your experience with Big? Was that your biggest show with Big J? I mean, that was pretty big. It was packed. Like I saw you one time.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday.
Nice. That's awesome.
And it was fun. Yeah, his crowd's the best comedy crowd though, because
They
to know
love
Big
comedy.
J, you have to like comedy.
Sure.
So it's not like a guy that you just found on social media and you're like, I don't really care. We're gonna like,
Right.
And so that when I go up there and I talk about whatever, shit and our material, that they're there for it. It's not
Right.
like some grandmother that's like, I can't believe he said that tonight, or whatever the vibe might be, or even just like a super like innocent young girl or whatever.
Right.
It's just like sometimes you look at somebody and go, you're just not gonna like this. I don't know.
Yeah.
But his crowd is into that. They're
Sure.
into comedy. They're deep into the weeds of comedy. And so his crowd was like, even when I got off stage, he goes, how'd that feel? I go, you have the best audience. He goes, oh, thanks, man. I was like, yeah.
I mean, no, they were very responsive. They were laughing. Like we were sitting all the way in the back, and they even sold out the back tables.
Yeah.
So, and people were laughing back
I think
there
he almost borderline sold out most shows.
How many people do you think there were?
I think 3 of them were like around 2 to 250, and then the last one was like, I think he sold like 5 to 10 under sold out.
Wow.
And that was actually the one that was the most even said on stage. Was like, you guys are tepid. But yeah, I had like a lot of good shows. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
But even at the end of it, I was like, well, I just did this set 4 times in a row.
Right.
I was like, some part of me was like, I don't know, maybe throw in like a whole new set on the last one. You know what I mean? Like, all right, here's another 10 minutes. You guys, whatever.
Yeah, but it's different audience members mostly.
It's still super fun, but
Right.
I like an element of like, I don't even know where this could go.
Yeah.
I like that on stage.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my problems. I hate repeating myself.
Gets redundant. Yeah.
And it's like, even like if I mess something up and I re-listen to it and I'm like, I feel myself being bored with this bit. And, that comes off to the
Right.
audience.
Yeah, if you don't say it the same way you did when it hit
It's
hard.
just the way I say it and stuff like that.
The
So
way,
if I'm not in it, so I have to
Yep.
sell myself the bit,
Yep.
which then I'm like, ooh, let me change this, let me change that, and then I fuck things up.
When I talk about the like black girlfriend stuff, I have
Yeah.
to do that to talk about like just race stuff.
Sure.
And I even people have come up to me like, hey, you guys slow down that part because I've done it so much, being like, I have a black girlfriend, blah blah blah.
Oh, you're
That,
spinning, yeah.
but I'm like trying to tag something on the back of end of it, like a new story or something like that. But I'm trying to get through that part as quick as possible to get to the new part. And some people are like, you
Right.
need to slow even
down.
though you've done it a million times.
Sure.
That's why you're going faster at it.
Yes, because I've done it so often, so much, and I'm like, I know it works. I just want to get to this part, but it also doesn't give this part a chance if you're fucking up the beginning.
Right. So
Oh.
I have the same with the foreigner stuff, right? I'm so bored with the foreigner because I only have a certain amount of, I don't know,
You're a
15.
foreigner?
But my foreigner material is, so that's why I started writing more foreigner stuff so I
On
don't
the
get
band?
bored.
Foreigner?
The foreigner, yes. They have some
Big foreigner fan?
Yeah, big foreigner. I actually like one of their songs. I don't know which one that is. I don't know, whatever. What songs foreigners have?
I know that somebody right now is really angry that we don't know, but
I know the band Foreigner, and
they
I
have
know
a couple like great karaoke songs.
Yes,
I just don't.
Yes. Do you do karaoke?
No, but it's on with my girlfriend actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went to.
So you were just sitting in the back
That's how you
staring.
met her?
Yeah, she was doing karaoke, and she's really good at it. Like,
Oh, I hate
she's
when
one-
people good at
she's
it.
that.
I hate when people. I have friends who are really good at it. I hate it.
she's the person who goes to impress people with how good her voice is.
Yeah.
And it's great, but it's also at the same time you can tell some people are like, "Well, good for you,"
Yeah, right,
It's that
right.
thing.
I'm just here to have fun.
Yeah, and then I go up occasionally and do like
Oh,
a
okay.
jokey thing.
What's your go-to song?
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Oh, okay. No, that's cool. No, that's fun.
Not
That's
surprised.
a fun song to
Not
sing.
surprised.
The bodies hit the floor.
Nice. You
Just
got
talk through your throat. No, it depends. I did one in front of her family that was a Bon Jovi song.
Mm-hmm.
And
Front of the family.
Yes, and they all can sing. So I had to go like I have to be funny as fuck for
Yeah.
this because I can't sing at all. So I did a Bon Jovi song and really acted it out. It was the do 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 do. I can't remember the song. But yeah, it was a hoot. It was
Nice.
a hoot, as they say.
How long did you know the family before you did that?
Like 3 years. Yeah.
Oh,
we
it
did
took
it in like
3
4.5
years
years.
to do karaoke in front of them.
No, I've done some pretty wild stuff for them, but
Wild stuff.
really wild stuff.
Oh shit!
They still make fun of me for the first time I was dancing with her. I pulled one of these ropey dopies on her as a white guy in a black family. They thought it was hilarious. So they all like when they see me like, "Oh, Alex!" They pull that move.
Oh, wow.
Every single time I see them, they still. This is like 2 years ago I did this.
That is
I
hilarious.
hope you add that to your material.
Yeah, well, there's stuff.
I don't know. Does she like that you have jokes about
Wait,
her?
what was that noise you just made?
I'm getting tired of writing about that, like that stuff. You know, the fish
okay.
out of water, white guy black.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know. Yeah, it gets kind of old, especially that redundant thing.
Yeah.
And those same black-white jokes again and again.
Right.
So I'm like, I want to break.
Yeah.
You ever want to break from?
I wish I could write clean. I wish for like a year I could just be like, "What's the deal with hamburgers and shit?" You know, but I can't do it. It's
No,
always
it
just
is.
like racial or dirty,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yep.
Even I was trying to write yesterday for like a good hour, and then I went to Shanty. I performed it. I'm like, this sucks.
So you actually do sit down and write.
Yeah.
That's
I
your-
can't do that either.
Yeah, it's-
Just sitting there and writing. I've tried, but it's like I have to research some techniques and let me try to format, but it
Yeah, I
doesn't
do.
come
This
out.
yeah, I'm a
I do need
format
to get
guy.
better at saying it, and then when I put it on stage, actually like writing the idea. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the wording and the phrasing, and how am I going to get to this to this to that? I think that would be better.
Yeah,
Like not full on just sitting down and being like, all right, let me think about like an idea and try to like spiderweb it like a lot of comics do.
right.
I think it would be better to have the conversation and then go, all right, well, let me try to navigate this. I don't even do that. I just go on stage like, well, here's the idea and let me figure it out on stage. Which sometimes I go up there and I'm like, I need to come up with some kind of thing here.
I mean, sometimes I have that too. Like I had my kidney stone surgery, and it was just funny, not the surgery.
Yeah, I
but
heard those are painful as hell.
So I went in there, and literally the anesthesiologist said, before he put me out, he put the mask on and he said, "Here comes the Michael Jackson juice."
That's funny.
And I went out. And then I'm like, this is freaking hilarious.
When you woke up, were you kind of like still functioning?
Oh,
or did you have to get driven home? Like, you have to get driven
No,
home.
you
Or
have
were
to get
like-
driven home.
Were
But
you like blacked out or anything on the way
I'm
home?
not blacked out, but I was just in a
Loopy?
zone. Loopy, yeah.
I had to get like an endoscopy because my throat's like all fucked up. And the guy, he was like, "How much do you drink?" And I was like, "I don't know, like probably like once a week." And I think like I gave him he was just like, I don't think he believed me.
Yeah,
he kind of
like-
like double checked, like, "You sure?"
Huh.
And I've gotten like a couple like surgeries before for the throat, and usually I wake up and I'm like, I'm fine. Like literally, I'm on the car ride home like normal functioning, whatever. This time I was for 2 days. Just
Whoa.
like out of my mind, I was like, that guy for sure thought I was an alcoholic or something. I don't know what
He
vibe I was
loaded
giving
you
him.
up.
Dude, I was looped. There's a video of me somewhere in the car, just like fucking everyone sucks. Which is like I'm like drunk is fun, blackout. I'm like it could go 50-50. Beyond a certain point, I like just everything's the worst in the world. I was in that system for like a like 8 hours, just like
Oh, wow.
where I was just like negative Nancy.
That's where I operate most of the time.
You're
normal.
positive.
I'm a pretty
You're
positive.
Yeah, you're
guy.
positive. As hell.
But I have my
Yeah,
sad
you are
moments.
pretty positive.
But it's
the
interesting.
opposite. If you are negative on stage or like dark on stage, always a really positive guy. People that are very positive on stage, usually very dark.
It helps. It's an outlet.
It's like almost always.
Yeah.
There's not. It's not
Yeah.
like a scientific fact,
Right.
but like it's usually.
Alex
Do you
is
do you
science.
think it's opposite?
Yeah, if you're dark on stage like he is, actually he's very positive in his day to day life.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the same person.
He lives in this dump, and he's very optimistic about it.
He is. You're right. He's
Dude,
the
I knew-
classic definition of what you just described.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there's a guy somewhere who has like a very like clean set, who's just like
I see.
who's
okay.
alcohol
Now-
drinking all the time, like
Now that
very
you,
dark.
Now that you say that, I talk all this dick and vagina, and I even wrote a joke where I'm like, I probably come off as like a porn star, addict, nympho, and I'm totally not at all.
It's always reversed.
At all. Yeah.
Not always.
funny.
There are a couple that are like
Like my attitude matches. Like I can be negative both ways, but
Yeah, I mean,
I
when I
feel-
watched the
yeah.
Seinfeld cars, comedians in cars, Seinfeld is actually really dark.
Yeah.
And if you watch his comedy, it's like,
the nicest.
It's
happiest.
always-
no, he's nice, but he's very
Happy,
like his thoughts are actually
positive,
pretty
yeah.
dark.
he also. I mean, he's got a little bit of like a. I mean, I'm not gonna say an asshole, but he's got a little bit of like a. There are clips of like when
Kinda
Kesha
like
comes up, is
arrogant
like, "Hey,
kinda.
can I like hug you?" And it's like, "I don't know who the fuck you are." Like,
Yeah, right.
Like it's funny, but it's also like,
Cocky.
no,
No,
just let her
he's-
hug you.
No, he
Right,
he
like
literally
cocky,
said he
arrogant
hates
Yeah, he's got a
everybody.
little bit of that.
Yeah.
He literally said he hates everybody except comedians. Like he enjoys hanging out. That's his outlet, just to hang out.
That's
with
also
comics.
not a fun way to go through life either, though. It's just like meeting someone.
No, I'm
I
not
bet
saying
you
it's
I
fun.
won't
Yeah.
enjoy you because you don't tell jokes on stage.
Yeah,
I think
right.
that's like a weird way to go through life. Too.
I mean, sure,
Sure.
but
So that is like kind of speaking to probably his dark nature,
Right.
in some capacity.
like that's his light at the end of the tunnel. Oh, I could get to hang out with comics today! Yay! He goes sometimes and shoots himself in the head. or something.
Nah, he's got too much going on for that.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Is that
He seems happy, but he is dark.
no? He is dark. If you watch the interviews that he did and what he's saying and stuff, I'm like, whoa. Like, I
He's
didn't
got,
expect that.
especially in the comedian cars.
Yeah.
Where he's a little
It
bit
comes
more
out.
himself,
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, Flo. I mean, I feel like because I see your set, you're definitely deadpan. You are more deadpan on stage
Yeah.
than you are in real life. You are in real life. You are in between. You are not that hyper.
Yeah.
But I also saw some of your Instagram videos, so I know you can be hyper.
I guess I go back and forth. I don't know. I guess I can do both.
Yeah,
Like a chameleon.
like a
There it is.
Comedy chameleon.
chameleon comedian.
What's this room need? They need a little energy boost. I'm gonna go out there, little, and then
I'm gonna Snapchat Alex real quick and then go on.
I'm gonna get this figured out. No, yeah, you bounce back and forth.
I do. Yeah. I think my natural state. It's weird. I don't know because I feel like naturally I'm just a low energy, but then there's times I'm fucking hyped. So
I think it's
don't
hard
know.
not to be a little bit of like, because there's times where I'm like, I'm a little bit more energetic just because I feel better that day.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
next
yeah.
day I'm like, I
Right?
didn't sleep for 2 days doing comedy.
You feel like shit.
And I'm like, what? I'm gonna just sit down on the stool and talk about whatever the fuck. You know, like it's.
yeah.
I think there is a little bit of like, well, it just depends on the day and how you feel.
How do you get through those days though? Like you still pull through and go to the open mic, or are there days where you're like, fuck it, I
Open
can't.
mic, no, but like a show.
Oh, show you gotta go.
No, Alex is not. Like, he's done with the open.
Are you
open
are you
mic.
No, I'm just kidding.
over open mics or what?
Sometimes I'm over, but I think I think in the beginning it's important to get you comfortable talking on stage and figuring that stuff out. And then I actually think eventually once you've gotten to that point, it teaches you bad things. Because like one of the first shows I did when I came back from LA, and I was just doing voussoir, and then I got on stage and I was like, oh, they're quiet and listening. And I was actually like uncomfortable in the fact that they were listening because I was like expecting some drunk whore to be like, some stupid, because
Which happens too, yeah.
That's
Right.
voussoir all the time. So I was actually like kind of uncomfortable. I was like, oh, this will teach me bad habits.
Right.
And even like,
Oh, the expectations that it's gonna be noisy and drunk.
yes, like some kind of break the tension thing or whatever. Like, because I love that. Like when something goes awry in a show, that's my fit. Like I said, I like the element of I don't know what's going to happen, but you can't manufacture that. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
right.
So when it was like I would do a show, I would get uncomfortable just telling my material and whatever. So I was like, I was learning bad habits from going to mics too much.
That's
like-
that's an interesting thought. I didn't even think of that.
But how do you work on new material? Do you?
Still at mics. I mean, I still do mics. I'm not like above it.
And it's not that once you have so many shows during the week, you can push in a joke like, oh, let me try this idea between two
Right.
jokes
If you got
that
a whole bunch
already
of good
work.
material and you want to
Yeah.
put something in there and
Yeah,
see.
just wedge it in.
Yeah, I mean, next week I have like 4 shows booked, I think, including yours. And probably,
What
depending on
show?
the times,
Justice Pod.
I'll probably slip in 2 ideas. And I'm like, this probably isn't. That's actually the best time to put it, too. Because if you do an open mic and it feel weird doing open mics and then having like, well, I got to do 2 minutes of my old stuff to make sure they're even like in the mood to laugh. And then throwing in some stuff. But if you're doing a real show and you put it in the middle, it's like, oh, it has its own legs and whatever. So just because I have an opener and I have a closer, so everything else in the middle is what I need to figure out. So I'm not like trying. I like that's any new joke I wrote is going to be in that spot.
Have you done any festivals?
I was thinking about applying to some, but like I've heard mixed things.
I mean, I usually apply to like 2 or 3 a year every 2 years. So altogether, I apply to about 6 Didn't get into any of them.
I've never even applied to one. There was one that Scott and Mikey tried to get me to apply to, and I was just like, I think this year I'm going to start trying. I'm kind of in a comfortable spot with my job and everything like that. Where
Okay.
Let me use some PTO for this and that kind of stuff. Where I'm like, all right, but I have heard mixed things. When it's like some of them seem like borderline scams, where it's just like you pay this much money, and then they give you like a room, but you have to pay to get there, and it's on the other side of the country or whatever. And then it's like you get there and you hear like the rooms are borderline open mics. You're like, well, then why am I doing this?
Right.
It's like I could have gone to Orlando or something like that. But also it is good for networking and all that like stuff. So I'm 50-50 on it. I also think some of them are very legitimate. Like
sure,
the Houston one has two good ones, Altercation and the Riot. Both are like really well regarded. So some part of it's just me being lazy. Some part of it's like I don't know which ones, and I don't feel like asking a bunch of comments like, "Hey, did you go to the Charlotte one? Did you go to the Tennessee, like Nashville one?"
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and seeing like which one seems legit, and which one doesn't.
Right. Well, so because of the networking stuff, but I was doing the 2020 the pandemic, right? I did a lot of online stuff, so I have contacts pretty much everywhere in the U.S. really. So networking wise, I mean, some of them dropped off over time, or we don't talk every day like we used to, because we used to hang out almost every day doing the Zoom shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for that stuff. If you ever if I ever go to on vacation, or even just want to put like what Scott's doing this tour, it's like it would be nice to be like, oh, can you book a brewery and sell 40 tickets, 50, 60 tickets, for us? Or like, what do you help in any capacity? That's nice to have, and I think you only get that through festivals to a degree.
Sure.
Or like you said, or whatever, or like networking from like, sometimes people are like, I know the guy there and whatever.
Right.
But that's harder to lean on than just being like, all right, let me show up to the festival. I might meet, even though the festival's in Charlotte, you'll probably meet most of the guys in Charlotte, and then outside of that, everyone they pulled in the area. That's like, oh, I'm in Atlanta, I'm in Nashville. I got pulled in from DC. So it is good for that, but
yeah, I mean,
I think that's what people I haven't done as the leading expert.
I'm still wondering about something else popped in my head. Like, at what point did you feel like, I'm gonna slow down with these mics? Because I go to mics and sometimes I see people doing literally the same shit every week, and I'm like, I don't want to do that every single time. I'm like, new stuff, and then I don't care if like something bombs or what. I'm like, I know I got my good shit, this is my material, but I don't want to do this every single time. It's getting old and the redundant feeling, Right. And then it's like, oh, if you talk through it fast because like I've done it already.
I mean, that's like a game you got to play in your own head, because like, yes, you might have said it 100 times, but some of the jokes that I said 100 times, like, you say one thing different, and you're like, that's in there now, right? So like sometimes you get so comfortable saying a joke that you deviate from it a little bit, and then you find a new tag all of a sudden.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, yeah, it seems tags, that way, but it also like you might find a new joke or thing inside of it that from doing it 100 times or whatever. Also, like I said, I think mics are mostly for just getting very comfortable on stage. Like I think it's like.
What if you want to like do a whole brand new 5-minute material, brand new everything? I just want to try all this new shit at once. You're just not at that anymore. You're just like, I'm gonna just throw in a new thing.
You're overestimating how much I write.
Yeah, I have no idea how much you write.
No. I mean, occasionally that happens, but I mean, usually that's where I go to Voussoir for that 9 times out of 10. The only thing that stinks there is they have a lot of regulars.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you heard this last week.
Or even if not even that, it's like if you come out with a new joke, because you've been there long enough, they know your previous stuff, so they know you. Right. So like if I could open with like a really dark joke because they've seen me 100 times. So it's like sometimes you watch a special and the guy comes out with like the darkest joke ever, and they're like, wow, he opened with that. You're like, well, yeah, but this is a 6th special, so people already know him. So like they already have 6 hours of like backlog of who he is. I could do a joke there that might work and then pull it somewhere else, and because they know me, they'll laugh at it. But you got to play that game of like, are you laughing because you know the shtick I'm doing?
Yeah. Sometimes it's a false laugh. I feel like sometimes that crowd is so good that they're laughing, and then like you do it somewhere else, and it's like it didn't hit as hard. Like, wait, what? Yeah. So let me do it at another place. Oh, okay. Like,
also, they have their like me joking about like all the stuff I like, the right wing stuff. They like that kind of joke. Right, where they're like, I'm ironically doing it, but they also like that joke because they understand it.
Right.
True, the crowd. Right, it's the crowd. Yeah.
But if you go do that exact joke, even though I'm ironically doing it and doing it in front of another crowd, they might not get the shtick that I'm doing.
Right.
So it's, in which case you gotta go, okay, I gotta make it sillier or something like that, and very obvious when I'm doing it. But it's easier in front of a crowd that you've done 45 shows in front. I mean, there's some people there that are there every week for the last year or two.
Yeah, there's that one older guy.
There's
Every single
the MAGA
time.
hat.
The MAGA hat. I was just gonna say the MAGA hat.
Yeah. MAGA hat's always there.
Every time.
even
He probably
like
knows all our jokes.
There's
by
an older
now.
couple that they haven't come by as much lately. I don't actually know where they've been, but they came through for like a year straight. They would get like halfway
Just
through the
come
show.
every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they wouldn't even see the open, like the early acts either. They would show up at like 10 and see everyone like from 10 to midnight.
Right.
But like
The cowboy hat guy?
he's one of them too.
Or is it? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the same thing, and he's come to a lot of our like other River City shows, like
Oh,
PJ
really?
and stuff. Yeah, he's
Nice.
every single time like an out of town comic's like, who the fuck's the guy with the cowboy hat? Wearing a cowboy hat to a comedy show in Florida, you get picked out. And he's got that raspy voice, so he can barely talk to. He sounds like the Marlboro Man the whole time. I was like, let me talk to this guy. He's like, it's like, what the fuck did I just open up?
That's funny. You got regulars, and you can even prepare jokes riffing with those people because you already know who those people are in the crowd.
Which is you don't want to do necessarily. I even now when I do crowd work at Boost, where I go, who has Scott not talked to?
Oh, yeah.
And I look for regulars that like people that are not regulars, because it's like you can't have an authentic back and forth with someone that you've seen 100 times.
You already know each other. So, you go.
I was going to change the subject, but I
like this. I feel like a professor of comedy right now. Just keep asking me questions as if I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, you were just opening for Big J, so that's huge to me. You know what I mean? Like, just in general.
Dude, that was fun. Big J's like genuinely like in my top 5 comics. So like, not to be super lame, but like when he was like, "Hey, dude, that was like funny." You know when like you see a newer comic at like a open mic or like a show, and you're like, "Yeah, that was funny," and you say it one time just to be nice, but then you come back a few times and be like, "Hey, no, that was like I want you to know." He did that to me, and I was like, I felt the whole night. I was like, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
It was like that thing.
He came to the workshop.
Yeah.
Then Saturday.
This past Saturday? Fuck, I almost went
Not
too.
past before.
Oh, good. All right.
He doesn't leave. I don't want to put that out there, but he doesn't really leave that area much. Like he stays.
I mean, that's fine. Like it's your choice as a comedian. Like I love traveling. Like when I go up to Atlanta, I drive around Atlanta.
That's if I was like a road comic.
Yeah.
If I went to a place, I'd be like, "What's the cool thing to do here?"
I'm pretty sure these guys are burnt out. With can you imagine these guys doing the same
also,
stuff
when you're
over again?
in your 40s and 50s and you drink on the road,
Yeah,
and
right.
It gets harder.
Oh, he was drinking?
A little bit. Not
No, it's all water bottles with him all the time.
But even then, it's like I bet you it gets harder to go. Like, all right, let me go. And in Jacksonville, you're like, what could be that cool, anyways?
Right.
You know what I mean?
We have some cool spots.
If somebody comes here right now,
Do
where do you take them?
Yeah, right.
St. Augustine.
That's not
Where I
Jackson.
take them.
Actually, I saw Dulce Sloan, or I think that's her name. She was last weekend. She was doing like swamp tours and stuff, like on on those airboats. I was like, that's pretty cool. I was like, that's a cooler thing.
cool.
That's
Yeah,
spend your day doing that.
Yeah, I did that once. It was cool. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So what did you want
I
to
was
bring
going to
up?
say, for you personally, what is your maybe not hardest, but most annoying or hardest part of comedy, and if it's changed over the years?
It's definitely changed. In the beginning, it's like just get funny, right? Like that's the struggle. It is right. Just get comfortable on stage, like this silly stuff, right? And then lately, it's to get people to care, where it's like you need Instagram followers, and even after the Big J, people would be like dabbing me up, and I would be like, please follow me on Instagram. I know it's so lame,
so annoying,
it's so lame, but I have no desire like.
Oh, the social networking.
Self-promotion to me is so hard.
Yeah.
And some people can do it. Some people can do it without even thinking about it.
I do it.
You really?
Just like, bam.
It's natural.
What's your Instagram?
She posts like 5,000 videos a
I
day.
can't. It's
annoying though.
in my mind cannot, and you have to do it. Like you have to.
Nowadays.
Anyone not do, there's so many funny comics that people will never know existed.
Right. I know. I'm one of them.
And I know I have to do it, but I hate doing it.
Yeah, no, I hate the social part, and I try to come up with I had the street interview idea and stuff, and I'm like, I don't
I did
I
that
don't
a
wanna
few
do
years
it.
back. Even 2020, I was doing the Christian was doing all
Yeah.
those.
Oh, Christian
I was
Amir is doing it
2020
now.
and
But
yeah,
it works. That's, I mean,
No,
it works.
Yeah,
that's
it
how you
works.
get a lot of.
But
so you get followers
they're
and
also
people to show the shows.
they're also young. Like I'm like old now.
You got. I know.
You know what I mean?
Gotta,
It's like,
you
hey,
can still do some shit.
That could be
over
the
here.
stick, though. It's like just
Yeah,
like,
right.
Dye
I'm
your
the old
beard.
creepy man on the street.
Hey, come over here.
Come here.
Come over.
Ooh, maybe mine gonna be at the cemetery or something. But I don't know.
Just
but
dye
it's,
your beard.
I don't want to do
Don't do
that,
that,
because that's you know what I
Don't
mean.
listen to her. That's
It's like getting plugs. Like I don't care. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's
I'm
like,
just talking shit, dude. Just go out there and do something. Fuck
yeah.
it.
But no, that's I tried. Like I had the idea, and I'm like, it's just not me. You know what I mean?
We have
But-
an idea that we're kicking around that I think is like an actually good idea that doesn't feel terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does feel weird to trap people and be like, hey, tell me about your ex-boyfriend. And,
Yeah.
and that thing, it just feels uncomfortable. And they know the shtick, so they're trying to jazz it up too.
Oh,
You
sure.
can tell when you're watching them. They're like,
Yeah.
he had a small dick. And you're like, okay.
Yeah,
Like, they're
yeah.
trying to jazz it up so
Yeah.
that way
Right.
he sees it or something. I don't know what it is. They just know which ones go viral.
Yeah.
Even that feels forced.
No, totally.
So I have a hard time with it, which I do not. There is a thing in comedy where people shit on it. I don't want to shit on it. If you're doing it, good for you. That I wish I had the ability.
Yeah.
I self promo to me is so hard.
Yeah, same.
And I think I just cringe watching the videos of myself. It's better if I just listen and not look, but for some reason it hurts so much that sometimes I'm like, I don't even watch shit for.
Yeah.
I have like months worth of shit I need to watch.
Oh, I
now,
have
think.
years by now.
It's so bad. That's how you get better.
Yeah. Every comic I know,
I hate it.
when they first started, were like, "Hey, come see me do comedy" to all their friends. I was the complete opposite. Where like I'm just getting to the point where people are like, "Hey, you do comedy?" I'm like, "You should come see it, maybe."
Yeah.
You know, like I'll throw a maybe on the back end. Like, yeah, like I had people come up to me at my job and be like, "Hey, have you heard about this Blue Jay listening room like comedy show?" I'm like, I put it together. You know what I mean? Like, well, it's a group of us, but like it is like I have a hard time.
We know it's
doing
you,
that.
Alex.
No, actually, that one I do the least on. Just kidding. Yeah, that one I for sure do the least on. But I have a hard time with that. Just walking up to people and be like, hey, and which is good because now I can bring people. So like every once in a while when we're like, hey, we're like 5 undersold, I'm like, all right, well, I got 5 friends I can text real quick, right? But now like the show is good.
Yeah.
I'm good at it, so they at least feel comfortable coming back and everything like that.
Sure.
And I've had a couple friends be like, that's so fun, I'm gonna have like bring dates to it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's a good time.
Yeah.
But like
That's how my open mic's grown.
yeah,
Yeah.
it becomes a fun time. That's how Vooswar grew too. Like those regulars, it's like
Yeah,
it's
those
not great in
regulars.
some capacity, but it's
'Cause-
an open mic with regulars. That's absurd.
Yeah.
So it's like I'd rather the regulars be there than nobody.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
So like it's
That's
helpful.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, the self promo part is the part that like, which I think was always part of it. I just when you're a year in, you're like, I always had a thing of like, I'm not going to promote my skill set yet. I'm not good at this yet.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm just starting to like maybe be like, I'm kind of clicking with this. Like things are kind of, I can go on stage and I always put percentages behind it. Like, hey, that's a 20% comic, which like they do well 20% of the time. Well, they do well 80% of the time. Everybody bombs.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know
But
what I mean?
how do you measure that if you don't know if they're doing new material or how much good, straight, amazing, crushing material they have?
That's what's the hard part of it.
Like, how do you know what they have?
That's the hard. That's the hard part of it.
I mean, we know
How do
each
you-
other. Like, Alex heard my whatever jokes a million.
I mean, there
times.
were
I don't go
months.
to a lot of mics now, so like a new person coming up
Oh.
is a little bit harder.
There were literally months when we had the mic in San Marco that got canceled.
Yeah.
That I was just doing new shit every time. Like, and bombing is a part of new shit. You have no idea where the fuck is going to end. So
For sure that's a thing because like even like I've gone to like 6-month periods of being like, well, this is a new 10 minutes I want to work out, and when it's done, I'm gonna have a 6
work
minute,
on
10
it.
minute.
Yeah, because if you got some good shit, all right, I'm going to leave that here. That's some gold.
Yeah.
Let me work on some brand new, maybe
Yeah.
some
and
bullshit.
then I got the end of that 6 months, and the 10 minutes still sucked. But
Oh.
but there are periods where like I'm gonna work on this idea. I'm passionate about it, and it could go either direction.
Mm-hmm.
But like I do see that can be a thing. There's no like science to any of it. You know what I mean? Where it's just like
how do you define the percentage on somebody?
my big thing is the comics that keep it fun even when they're not being funny. Like there's
Yeah.
comics that are funny that aren't fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're laughing, but you're also like, oh,
You gotta have
like
a good
that
time.
thing.
Yeah.
No, you want to have a good time. That's
Yes.
why we're doing it, right?
Right.
We enjoy it.
There's comics that take the fun at it funny. And and you can't be funny and objectively not be fun still.
Yeah.
And there's people that'll be like, I laughed the whole time, but you leave kind of going, okay. You know what I mean? I think as long as you are leaning towards fun, that is always so much easier to work with and book because...
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Because at least also those people usually bomb better. Like I'm a bad bomb. Sometimes like when I do bomb, it's like... I'm like, fuck you guys. I mean, I'm too much of an intellect, actually.
But you don't
get a laugh off the top of shit.
I do.
But you don't do. You also don't do it all the time. I've seen you just coming out of a bomb like gracefully instead of being
just
angry.
Tag it with
but
some
that's
bullshit.
the fun part, right? Like if you're not being fun with it, when you bomb and you're just like the jokes are funny, but they're not doing well. Well, if you're not fun to fall back on, like I'll say disco, which is always a hard show for me. Because it's like 60-year-old plus.
Right.
And
that's my target audience.
That's your target. But the first time I did it, my jokes, I was like 5 minutes in. I was like, this is not going well. If I don't do crowd work, I'm going to eat a bag of dicks.
Yeah.
So I went straight to crowd work after that and did 10 minutes of just like, what do you look like a mother? Like, what the fuck the deal was? But like, I was like, I'm funny without the material too.
Right, sure.
At least make it fun. Right? Which is a thing to fall back on.
That's
which
the
is,
improv part. That's the riffing part.
That's why I always say at least be comfortable on stage.
Yeah.
Because that's like I think the first few years are just being like, I need to get so comfortable on stage that if this whole thing goes sideways, I'm still like fun enough to be like, I got this, whatever.
Yeah.
And get them to care in a different way. The best people who like, you don't want to. There's certain comics who like literally their material sucks, and a lot of their set is just making fun of their own material. They see that occasionally.
We do see that.
But you want to be fun in your like escape routes too, like as things are going sideways.
Oh yeah.
Which I've seen you do. Like you do that at Comedy Zone a lot, where it's like if something doesn't hit, you're very like good to be like, I mean, then they get in on it.
It took me a long time too to do that, like because I was just so a material driven comic, right? I was just like, where's my stuff, and I don't deviate. And now it's a lot easier. I'm like, hey,
it's also a comfort of just being on stage with reps.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, hosting the open mic helped a lot.
Every new comic should start an open mic.
Oh, and
right
they do.
That's what we don't have. Wow. Right now we don't have a lot of open mics though. I mean,
are we growing a lot of open mics now?
We have enough. I think
there's
we
a
need
lot
shows
popping up lately.
Like the new cover is back. You know what I mean?
Which one? The one at the beach?
Thursday. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of.
But that's one show. Name another show that started in the last like 2 years.
Oh, like starting
show
wise?
or open?
No,
open
mic.
mic.
There's a lot of open.
Yeah, but not
like,
new ones. Not new
like
ones.
Joe Malice's is now someone else is doing it, right?
Yeah,
but that's the one he was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one you were
That's
talking
the
about?
So they're redoing it, so it's gonna be there Thursday.
And then the Poker Face people
is trying to do a whole
yeah.
bunch of shit. Goodfellas.
But those are those weekly?
So we got once a month, and that's actually the respect thing now. It is every week now because like. Now you got Southside's doing his the third Wednesday. You got Emmanuel and Mama Jack doing the fourth Wednesday. So now it's technically an open mic every Wednesday.
Okay.
At different locations.
I mean, that's okay.
They're trying to get it bigger. And what's the new guy on a Friday? What's his name? Leroy. What's his name? He goes to yours a lot.
There is
He's
Leroy.
open to start at a new one on Fridays now.
Who? Aaron? Leroy Aaron?
Leroy, yeah.
No, the other guy.
Leroy Gordon or Leroy?
The last
Actually,
Leroy?
it's not Leroy. It's the guy that goes to your mic, though.
CJ Hightown.
Oh, okay.
He's got his
Right, that's
Fridays.
fine.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some popping up, but as if you're like a newer comic, I think that's how you get the most comfortable on stage. The growth of between like, I'll even say Christian Blaker before he started that mic, and then like once it got canceled, he.
I mean, he was doing it for a year.
He was, but the growth between his comfort on stage, because he is a stand and deliver guy for the most part. Now, if you watch him, he's very comfortable when things go sideways.
Yep.
And even now, when he's now doing feature work on the road, he's gotten substantially better in just like a month or two. Right? It's like it's the comfort of just having those reps.
I mean, he's on stage almost every day, multiple times a day now.
Like this next week after these Big J shows, I bet you I murder all four of them because I'm like I've been on stage a lot recently.
So
so
talking
the
about
reps of just. I don't even have to think about what I'm saying as I'm saying it. I can be in like a different space and it's still coming out the right way because I've done so much lately.
Yeah.
It's like
it's all memorized, perfect. You got it all.
I know the timing down. I know the pacing.
All down.
Yeah. So talking about the tour, do you want to talk about the tour of Shallow Boys? Is that
Shallow End Boys?
Shallow End?
Yes.
Oh, like in a swimming pool?
End.
Yes.
How the heck did you guys come up with this name? It's like weird.
Well, we wanted to. articulate that it was like a Florida thing because the whole vibe is like 70s Florida. So
Okay.
a lot of like pastels and that stuff. Kind of like a 70s spring breaker is kind of what we're going
Okay.
for.
Okay.
Because I think outside of Florida, people know what that vibe is and they'll be like, oh, I want to see what these Florida boys have to say.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
Now, originally, Scott wanted to do like a very Southern thing. And I was like, I'm not Southern. Mikey's not like, we're not good old boys. You know what I mean? Like, we're not that. So I didn't want to like bring that audience and then all of a sudden be like, my black girlfriend, you know?
You're like, what?
Like, huh?
Maybe trans people are people, guys. So I didn't want to do that thing.
Make America gay again. It's like, what?
Yeah. So I didn't want to like do that shtick.
Makes sense.
So yeah, so I was like, I don't know, you're kind of pigeonholing me into a spot.
Sure.
So he was like, well, let's go lean into like the Florida vibe. But we wanted to say Florida man without saying Florida man. If you say like this is the Florida man tour, people
Right.
are like,
Yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
okay. So we put Shallow and Boys, and I think with the rest of the branding around it, it looks like
It looks
you
cool.
get what
I
it
like
is.
it. Yeah. And I like the promo videos and stuff. So, but is that coming up soon? When is your first show?
Yeah, so we got a show in Douglas, Georgia. Just because it's an easy place to sell tickets. But we've booked a couple clubs. So actually, I need to follow up with a couple. But we got one in Austin, the 5th best comedy club in Austin.
Hey, that's a name. Austin.
I'm just fucking around. But there's a few, and a lot of it like replied back, being like, "Hey, we're interested." And then it's hard because Scott's really good at getting them on the hook, and then like trying to work it out from there is hard sometimes.
Right. I mean, you are a salesperson, and Scott is a media person, and
He's
a
a sales guy too. I
salesperson.
mean, he owns his own marketing
Right.
firm, so he has
So
to
you
sell
guys-
the idea
yeah,
that he knows
yeah.
what he's doing. He's really good at that. It's just the clubs want a lot of follow up, which is
Like, because they are not responsive, or
it just depends on the size of them. Like, I mean, most of the ones I could do like 70 or 80 seats, which is kind of what we're targeting, really.
oh, that's perfect. I mean,
Because that's what we're going to be able to sell, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably do more. A lot of our idea is just going to cities and that we know people in, leveraging that.
yeah.
Stuff like
I mean,
that,
you have
but-
got to start somewhere.
Yeah. We have like an idea, and also we'll put money into ads, stuff like that. That's what all the videos are for. But every club's a little bit different. So we have a few. We have obviously I think we're going to do most of the comedy zones. I think that's already kind of figured out. And then I don't want to say names because they're not official.
No, don't say
but
names.
There's one in Atlanta. There's one in Houston. There's one.
Okay, cool.
Obviously Austin.
Nice. Awesome.
Nice.
We have
So
a
is
couple of
that-
places. Those are the ones. Sorry to cut you off, but those
No,
are the
no,
ones
no.
that we're doing right now that are like are legitimate. Like probably, I think most of them are already signed. Like they're like we're gonna do, but we want to do it. Like it's hard from like Houston and Austin's not that far away. I'm not going to Houston and not just flying right back. So I'm trying to get the Dallas one too. So
While
that
you're
way
there.
we can do.
That's what I wanted to ask. So how are you guys
spots in
doing
one
the
tour.
tour date-wise? Like, you're going to hit the nearest
It's
city?
so easy to do like Monday Houston, Tuesday Austin,
Right.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Dallas.
I'm
That's
just
what we're
curious about
trying
the
to do.
logistics and stuff, but that's cool. It's a
Even
good idea.
Atlanta, I'm like, I want to do Atlanta, then do like Chattanooga, and then there's another one
right
I'm
there,
targeting. Like it's, but I want to do them in a row and make sure the scheduling works. So a lot of it's like, well, maybe the scheduling won't work for this one now, so we have to. That's why I'm like hesitant to say names. But we got some clubs that some of them I'm surprised we pulled off so far.
That's awesome. Hey,
Nice.
that's
I'll tell you
that's
right
great.
after, like one or two, where I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but, one of them's in a city that we can definitely sell tickets to because one of us live there. So, well, hopeful about some of them.
That works.
All right, awesome. All right, how long we been doing it
It's
for?
been an hour, I think.
All right.
This was a lot of comedy this time.
It was. I mean, sometimes it depends. It depends on.
Sometimes we just talk about-
you have your own podcast, so you know how to talk and stuff.
If you learn anything on this particular podcast, just know Mikey B is gay.
That was the theme.
That is funny. No, hey Zach, please do a video clip about Alex saying Mike is gay.
Please don't. That can't be good on the internet.
Who cares? Like,
Yeah,
do people still care about this? In Florida,
I
maybe.
think some people do. I think people leverage it if they already don't like you to be like, oh, look at this thing, but
Oh.
they don't really care.
I mean, so far we haven't started any feud here. The feud came
Dude,
in
who do you
here.
want to talk shit about?
Yeah, I mean, like, no.
Who's your least favorite comic in Jacksonville?
I don't know. I have my list. You know,
Long list.
I'm just here. I love all comedy. Like, I don't care if you do improv comedy, crowd work, right, or you do. I'm always shitting on crowd work.
Yeah, you really
because it's
don't
improv.
like that.
No, it's not that I don't like it. I can't
love
do
it.
it. I'm just not good at it, right? I can manage, but whatever. I'm a writer, but it doesn't matter. So I
No, yeah,
love
it's all-
all
yeah, it's
kinds
a
of
style,
comedy,
yeah.
and I believe like
Preference.
everybody's putting their best foot forward to be
Yeah.
a better comic. So that's my take on it. If somebody hates me, I like it's bad luck. Like I could care less,
Yeah.
whatever. Do
Period.
their
That's
thing.
what I was saying earlier. Is like every comic should do their own thing. I like a little bit of an element of surprise. Like I like
Yeah.
that because I know what to like. I can do the material and just
Right. We know the
I can
material
autopilot
works.
almost that sometimes. So which
Yeah.
is not good, but you know.
No, yeah.
But like your mind works different, so
Right.
there's no right or wrong way to it.
That's why
Like, I don't like improv, but like people, I've gone to improv shows, and be like, that guy's really good at that.
Yeah.
At that, well, like you said, the improv show is completely different than just riffing with the crowd because you got to be positive, no dick and vagina, you got to be clean. But like just the riffing, that is improv
Yeah.
purely,
Right.
but it's like not without those other elements.
Yeah, I agree.
There's nothing wrong with it. I like all of them. I mean, if they make me laugh, it's funny, and I'm gonna laugh. I'm an easy
But I
laugher.
see what you mean.
But you
You're
didn't
more
answer my question. Who is your least favorite comedian?
So that's what I'm saying. Comedy
You're at
is
the top of the list, Alex.
like I cannot even list who is
On the top of the fuck 'em list? Come
Fuck 'em.
on,
Cover
girl,
the
fuck 'em
fucking-
list. Come on, girl, fuck 'em list.
the top of that.
Yeah, if somebody has the list, send it.
Send it to us. Yeah.
Send it to us.
Like I won't send that in the Jacksonville comedy page instantly.
Here you go, guys. Oh, look at you, Mikey B. You're on the bottom. No, I'm just kidding. It's poor Mikey. He's gonna hate
is
me
on the
again.
bottom.
He's gonna hate me again.
Yeah, he is. Good one, Emery.
Oh man. But anyway, so comedy, I cannot even, because I have respect for all comedy, right? It's like music. Some people like certain bands better than others. So I cannot even say who is the best comic in the scene. There
Yeah.
are certain people who are good at one thing or certain
Actually,
things.
that's one thing I don't like because I recently was like, I said someone was my favorite comic, and then somebody answered goes, well, what about this person and this person? I was like,
Yeah.
dude, we're talking style differences. Like
Yeah,
those
right.
people are all good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, I like that style because it hits my mind
Yeah,
space.
Right.
yeah, it's a preference.
It was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't hate anybody, guys and gals.
Me neither. I actually like her
Me
too.
neither.
Genuinely, people don't like me, but I don't.
That's because of your personality. It's
yeah,
fine.
I'm a love 'em or hate 'em guy. That's
It's not about. It's not because
You
of your
like to
comedy.
roast, though.
a little bit, yeah.
You like
I mean,
to roast.
Actually, you pulled me up. Sorry to keep this going longer than it used to.
Oh, it's fine.
The last Justice Pub mic I did, you're like, this guy likes to roast. And I was like, don't say that. 'Cause I had to,
you
like,
roasted
and
me.
then I immediately roasted everybody, but I had to get them into like a warm sense of like, I'm not going to attack you guys. And then instantly I went to the guy like, you guys fucking because you look like you're not. You look. I instantly went in on the you and then the couple in the front.
That's funny.
It was,
I don't know. I guess I said that just because I remember the time before you came, it was you just went straight out on everybody.
Dude,
like,
the one that
"Get
bothered-
ready to roast, get ready to get roasted. So
God, I still remember a roast that I did there that didn't go well. Which I can't say it on here. It was so funny.
yeah, I think I remember some.
I mean, I only did one roast in JAX at the Justice Pub with Blaker. That was a lot of fun.
Roasting is fun.
I mean, I love roast jokes are
I
awesome.
wish we had a roast.
and
battle
you
type thing.
we had them, and then it was coming back. And I always said the Justice Pub is the
one there.
perfect because it's
was?
called the Justice Pub. It's the perfect freaking spot for a roast.
A guy who was out of Gainesville did one there.
Yes,
And,
Jake.
Jake. Yes.
Jake.
And it was good.
His last name.
Actually, so I think it undersold, which was part of the thing. But
They
there were
didn't
people.
really push it. I think.
I think he
but-
was hoping that sometimes
I know,
there's like a
that-
thing where it's just like put it on your Instagram. It's like none of us have
Right.
a billion followers.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to
Right.
put it outside of just.
I did
your-
promote it, and I started doing it. And that's why I learned animation the first time. I did animation because I was going against Christian, so I was like doing this boxer guys.
Really?
Anyway, it was funny. Yeah.
No, I like roasting and stuff. Like if someone, I don't just go straight out and roast. Like I'll wait if someone's gonna mess with me. I'm happy to fucking roast back with you. But there are some people on the scene that I'm just like, every single time you roast me, all right, I'm just gonna roast back. But
That
it's
well, also
just
you're
like-
you if you host the show, like sometimes when I'm like I don't know how to open a set and I'm at Voussoir, I'm like let's just make fun of Scott.
No, I've said before. Actually, I've said to the Actually, I think they upset the audience one time at the Justice Pub. So I told the comedian when I went up, I'm like, just roast me.
Yeah.
Don't be like you went a little bit.
Yes.
It wasn't funny. Like if it's a roast and it's
You've
funny,
done it
okay.
100 times so they know you. So if you roast, and also there you probably have some regular shit like you said, where it's
Yeah.
like they know you. So when you get roasted, it's like, oh yeah, okay,
yeah.
and it's not attacking them, and they know your spirit
Yeah,
will be
I'm
like,
like,
oh yeah, you're
roast
right,
me.
okay, whatever.
Yeah, they were.
Like you're a community, like
Because
so.
it wasn't funny. I'm like,
Well, also, I mean, it has to be.
it has to be
good roast,
funny.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about at other open mics that I've been to, and just like, not my own, where.
What other open mics do you go to,
I guess
Flo?
I don't know what other ones.
What other open mics
Oh,
do
you
you
got
go
the
to?
other Thursday night one, Vanessa and CJ's.
Oh yeah.
The problem is that none of them are weekly.
That's the thing.
They're all
I
like
hate the
bi-weekly,
bi-weekly stuff.
yeah.
I like monthly. It either has to
Which-
be monthly or weekly because it's so
Even
confusing.
yours is monthly, right?
It's been monthly for 2 years.
No, it's
almost.
been
2 years almost.
and we did.
now.
I mean, we did bi-weekly when we were at Justice Pub.
yes,
So, like,
and
was
I
part of-
hated it.
Oh, remember I tried doing it. Actually, it was
I was the
Amir.
inspiration for her to
You
start
were,
comedy. Act.
yeah. You didn't show up the next week, and then Ian's like, "Oh, I'm canceling. I don't have a host." I'm like, "I'll host."
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That was
That's
what
how that happened. But then Amir, when I got it going again,
I think that's
guess-
about when I got the Comedy Zone at the exact same time. So like even now, it's hard to go do Comedy Zone. And then
No, it is hard. Especially by the
Oh,
time I
no.
said I break down my
No,
stuff
I
or our
don't-
stuff for rock
Which, by
bottom.
the way, way to pick my night to run your show. We have a little beef now. Just totally messing with you.
Wait, what now?
Totally messing-
Hang on, wait, what?
Well, we have the we have
No,
my
totally
mic.
messing- you know,
Me
some-
and you or me and him?
No,
all of
I'm
us,
not-
you know how
actually.
some comics get mad if you have like the same show, like a show on the same night.
It's at fucking 6:30. Mine's at like midnight. Those motherfuckers don't leave till 2 a.m. sometimes.
I know.
Yeah.
No, the funny
Just
is
as
all
fun.
three of us have Wednesday stuff. Like mine is
What do you
weekly.
have on Wednesday?
The River City.
The River City at the Comedy Zone. It's at the same time as my mic.
Because it's the first Wednesday too. That's why I was fucking with you.
So you did that after I
I
set
already
up.
had my
I
shit.
had my shit
My
set
shit
up
going.
before you did.
I already have my
Your shit came after, but yeah, no.
No, wait.
My
When
shit
was
was
Justice
going
Pub with
first.
Andre? Was that Wednesday? It was Wednesday.
Wednesday,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
we
it's been going
tried.
on for years. Flo.
No, because he was the host, and I took his spot because he didn't want to
No,
do
Andre
it
was the
anymore.
host.
Andre was the host.
You were
Alex was.
taking over for him.
No, I never wanted to take that over.
Yeah.
He,
He
Why
left.
were you just taking his spot that one? Oh, were you?
yeah, I think I was like,
Dylan?
He moved.
yeah,
He moved.
because there was like because he hasn't done comedy in 2 years. R.I.P.
All right.
Oh.
He moved to Ohio, but there was like a 6-month period before he moved where he was like, I can't do it this week. Can you cover it?
And
then,
you were covering.
yeah, so there would be
Oh.
like 4 people there to do the
Dude, I
mic.
remember when I went, it was just me and my friend Karina, and you were the host. I'm like, wow, where the fuck is everybody?
Yeah,
But,
that was the because we were doing it weekly at that point. That was the quintessential, like, you would randomly get 20, 25 people, and it would be a fun time, and then the next week be like, I want to shoot
Nobody-
myself.
yeah, right.
He would go back and forth being like, this is the best mic. I don't know why people don't, like, fuck
And
with
Right.
it that much.
And then, yeah.
Then the next week being like, dude, I get why people don't fuck with this. I don't want to do it.
Well, dude, that's why actually when I think in the beginning I had a lot of people going. I had a lot of friends and stuff
Mm-hmm.
too going, and it was a good crowd. And then Amir and someone else was like, "Oh, can I share it with you? Can we make it a weekly thing?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then when we did, no one showed up because I'm like, That's
No,
why I
it was
said
hard.
once a month because ain't people coming out every
Yeah.
freaking
And
Right.
I also, though, weirdly, I credit those shitty shows for being so comfortable on stage. Because once you've eaten a bag of... I've seen comics cry on that sit, like, at Justice Pub that are pretty decent comics.
Oh, I've seen some jokes not work there.
Oh, I've seen
crowds.
bomb. I've seen
And I'm like,
everybody
I've
bomb.
seen that joke work
Almost.
somewhere else with like other comedians, and I'm like, "Ooh, they didn't get any laughs."
Now, one thing I will give you credit for is that, like, when you do that 1 month of show, it's not like an ambush show. Like, people show up for it.
Yeah.
I hate going to a mic and then it's like, all right, guys, we're gonna do this, and then it's like you have to fight for their attention,
Right.
which is some of those bad habits I was talking about, where it's like
Yeah.
you learn how to fight for. If they're already giving you the attention, when they do it, then you get uncomfortable. Like, what the fuck do I do now?
Well, you know, it started off as variety show. It started off fucking rappers and poets and shit, and
Yeah.
now it's just fucking comedy. So that's
Good.
All right.
All right.
Anyway.
Let's plug some
Yeah.
socials. Do you
Yeah.
have social? Now that you said that you can't sell yourself.
sell it. Time
Sell
to
it.
sell.
Can you do it for me? Can you do it for me? Alex Sanders Comedy on Instagram.
Okay.
That's it.
Cool.
One more time.
Alex Sanders.
How do you spell that?
Alex is different. It's not Alexander. It's
Alex.
Alex Sanders because my parents suck. And comedy on Instagram.
Flo?
That's a pretty easy Instagram handle. Flow funny because my name's fucked up.
I know. You said I was editing one of the episodes and you said, "Oh, I'm gonna fix this," and that was months ago.
Fix what?
Your name on Facebook, Flo Funny Joe or something.
Oh, Facebook won't allow me.
Yeah, no, that's
No, they don't let you put a stupid name there.
Yeah.
They used to years ago. Like, you
Yeah.
could put fucking dinosaur and they didn't care. Now it's like, oh, I put in funny. This is not a name, so I had to take one N off.
That's the first word that comes to your head, dinosaur?
Whatever.
It's just a no.
Improv, Imre.
It's
Improv.
improv. I see your dinosaur, and yes. All right. And I am stand up anywhere else. All
And
right.
and the show is May 4th. If this gets out by
No.
then, never mind. Never
This is
mind.
going into the backlog.
Shows are coming up. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Well, the whole summer. I mean, you guys are gonna be on tour somewhere.
Yeah.
Go all over the place. So
Actually, we're looking at the schedule for the Blue Jay and comes on, being like, I can't do that one. I can't. So I'm like booking
Dude,
out now.
that's
like, a little
crazy.
Farther advanced because of it.
Nice.
that's awesome. That's a good job. That's how you do it. All right, let's clap
All
one last
right.
time.
Thanks
One.
for coming.
Thanks for coming
Happy
on.
to have ya.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And let's go to Woods Farm. All right, 1, 2, 3. Whee!
Yeah, piss, did you hear that? We got the loadout on the streets where the talk's at. From the hood to Hollywood, we spilling all the tea. Ain't no secret safe, no, we bring the heat. We dropping names and we dishing the dirt. Did you hear that? Spreading rumors like crack, ain't no turning back. We the real OGs taking it to the airwaves. Did you hear that? Getting the scoop, all the celeb facts, you better listen up, cause we run this podcast.